Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for top producers to help support you in your businesses and help you create the ideal lifestyle that you want as a top producing agent. We also help team leaders and brokers develop top producers in their organization, and we have multiple different programs to help you do that. If you are a team leader and a broker, you can check that out at topproducersnation.com to learn more about the different ways that we can help you in your organization. We're powered on the local level, of course, by our local franchise, which is our Tampa Bay Real Producers franchise here in beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida. We're hanging out at the studios on the corner of West Shore and Kennedy as we speak, and we get to feature the top 500 producing agents here in the Tampa Bay market. In fact, our guest today is somebody who's been on the show before. If you wanted to search him up, you'll see a previous episode where we dove into Bobby Paolini's full story. But today we have a cool announcement, and we're going to dig into some of the things happening in Bobby's business and journey. So good to have you here in studio today, Bobby. How you doing, brother?
Awesome, my friend. Thank you for having me. Grateful to be here.
It's good to
Chris
see you again.
Cimino, thanks for joining us. This is going to be great.
Without a doubt, Mr. Bowtie Bobby. I mean, you could see why they call him Bowtie Bobby, right? Here in the house.
I just look like a Bobby.
This episode is brought to you, by the way, by one of our amazing partners with Tampa Bay Real Producers, and that is the team at Homestretch. Shout out to Mark and Carrie, and we have in studio today Mr. Chris Cimino. How you doing, Chris?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here with you, Don, and specifically very happy to be here with Bowtie Bobby.
I mean, who isn't, right? You can't be around Bowtie Bobby and not be fired up about his presence. You know, it just is the way it is. We like him so much. We've had him in the studio more than once. We've had him on masterminds, panels. We just can't get enough of Mr. Bowtie Bobby here in this market. Yes. But Homestretch, by the way, is an amazing one of our partners. You're going to see a little blurb from them a little bit later on, and you can check out more about Homestretch, by the way, at TampaBayRealProducers.com. Just click on partners, and you'll see, and you're going to hear some things today about how they help you in your business as well. So, Bobby, let's start a little bit with you. I know, like I said, we've had you on the show before, and you we've already kind of dove into the backstory, so we're not going to necessarily go through that again. But it's cool to have you in studio here now because of some exciting changes and some things that you're going through. So why don't we just fill the people in right off the top at like what's the most exciting thing that you're looking forward to here for the rest of 2026 and beyond?
Oh, wow. That is a loaded question. For you viewers, if you watch the first episode, this will be a lot more entertaining. You won't get my life story, but you'll get kind of what I've learned from it and where we're going and how Tampa Bay Real Producers is a part of that and helping with that. But I feel like the journey prior to this, when I started real estate school in 2014, has divinely led me to creating an environment and an atmosphere where not only I can grow and I can be more of myself and serve more clients, but share that with other agents. And you and I both know that a large part of our heart goes out to the idea that, what are there, 25,000 plus licensed agents out there, and there are a million different scenarios of why or why not they're selling a certain volume. But by and large, as a licensed realtor, I know I didn't go through all that to be licensed and sell houses, to really just do it once in a while. And there were some times in my career where I almost, called it a day, right? Hung my hat. I felt like real estate was more of convincing myself of things to do that I had to do, rather than getting really good at things that I wanted to do and should do. And it gave me longevity in my career. It rejuvenated my career, and it's part of my success. And I'm looking forward to sharing.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, Bobby, if you're not familiar, has been a top producing agent ever since we've even started Tampa Bay Real Producers. We've featured him multiple times within the magazine program. He was featured initially, I want to say, as a rising star in this market when we first hooked up, and then has been featured multiple times since. So we've had him on multiple panels to share. And when I think about Bobby's business and his success over the years, a lot of it, and he would probably agree with this, I would think, has come from his intentional focus on client relationships And there's been specific systems and programs that I think are really going to be a big part of where this new announcement is going and where Bobby's, the new strategy is moving forward. But I know, Bobby would probably tell you, and what we're going to leaning into here as we're hinting at this is that you've been starting to study to become a broker. Right?
Yes.
And the goal here for Bobby, and probably by the end of 2026, I think, if I'm on the same timeline with you, is to be able to have his own brokerage that's really leaning into client retention programs. So helping more and more agents do exactly what he's done over the years. A lot of Bobby's business, most of Bobby's business that he can speak to, has been through referral driven, relationship driven, and is really designed in a way to create the ideal lifestyle. And as I've interviewed a lot of top producers over the years on this show and through the magazine, one of the things I've seen as a common problem is a lot of top producers, even though they make great money in a lot of cases, struggle with that lifestyle component. Right? That balance of wanting to find out, I got licensed, but I'm not really fulfilling the lifestyle that I was dreaming about, right? Even though I'm doing well, right? As a top producing agent. And as Bobby already said, most of the agents out there aren't even doing well, quote unquote, when it comes to volume. That's a whole other conversation. But I'm even speaking here to the agents who are producing, people we've had in this chair and featured before, who still find that challenging lifestyle component something they're constantly chasing. And so let's touch a little bit on that, Bobby, with your heart for why you wanted to go down this path of opening up your own brokerage. What is your vision, if you want to share it briefly, on who you're trying to help, what type of culture you're trying to create? What are some of those thoughts that come to mind?
Yeah, that's a great question, because honestly, why do any of us work? Right? It's not so much to work more. I doubt anyone's lying in their deathbed wishing they did one more sales call, So just getting ahead of that, first and foremost, my job here in this world is to be a husband, a father, an ambassador for my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And, real estate is an amazing blessing and a conduit for that, but it doesn't precede any of that. And even when I was at my most uber successful, it just wasn't enough, because like what you said, that lifestyle, if you have to trade the best years of your life or your kid's life or your marriage, what good is it? Right? It's only money. There's a million different ways to make money. And I just felt like nobody had any answers. And different brokerages had different models and budgeting and things like that. And you could scale and leverage a team, but then there's a lot involved with that. So I thought there had to be a simple way. And I realized that, as much as agents are joining teams and brokerages because they want to make more money, if they knew any better, what they really need is leverage, because with the leverage, like any team owner knows and has realized, and that's why they started a team, is they can not only buy their time, but they can consistently earn money at the same time.
Sure.
And what else are we trying to do besides earn consistent income, grow, but have a life today instead of, working for 40 years, 80 hours a week, and then assuming you're going to just retire and ride into the sunset when none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. And I found a happy medium where you could have your proverbial cake and eat it too. You could have consistent income. You can support your family. You can help others in their business, and you can have a life. And that's where I'm aiming to roll out for my new brokerage.
I love it. Can you share one example of the leverage you're describing? What's one example of how that has played a role in your business?
Yeah, I would say, look at it just from a marketing standpoint. And then kind of moving into systemizing your marketing. A lot of times team leaders and brokerages turn real estate sales, which I see as people service, into like basically a phone sales industry. Like that's what we are. We're phone salesmen, and the commodity happens to be real estate. And that's the part that I think is predominantly leveraged as your way of generating income. But I've learned that people buy anything and everything, using a particular psychology or a modality, whether they realize it or not.
Which you wrote about, by the way, I believe in your book, right?
Yes,
You
absolutely.
can plug the book, by the way, for people who might not know.
Thank you. Good talk, great sales. I just had to share kind of some secrets that I had learned from reading numerous books to let people know there's a better way. So it's basically, like you said, extreme client focus, thinking and working towards serving and helping in a multitude of ways people who are already in your life. I'm 47 years old. I've talked to numerous people in the last at least 45 years, maybe 40 something that I can remember. And that has value. That's something that you can build off of if you know how to turn mind share into market share. And without getting into details, the marketing is just a strategic way to be visible to the people who already know you, like you, and trust you in a subtle, almost serendipitous way that creates more opportunities, significantly more opportunities for you to sell and refer real estate.
Yeah, we always hear about when people are newly licensed that they should lean into their sphere of influence, right? It's probably one of the most common things that's driven into their thought process as soon as they get licensed is who do you know that people need to know that you're a realtor, right? And have the conversation and get that out there. And I think a lot of people struggle with getting traction through that mechanism, and so they look for paid leads. They want to get on a team that's going to give them leads, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, if there was a system that they felt that they can tap into that really would start to open and unlock the power of their sphere, right? Without it having to be consistently driven just through manual effort, like you said, just through awkward phone calls and trying to, like, somebody who you've known for 10 years and now trying to change the conversation into the fact, hey, I'm a realtor now. If you need me to help you, I can sell your home. That just feels weird, right? For a lot of agents who struggle with that whole dynamic. And so one of the things that I know Bobby has done really well using certain softwares, using automations, is to add value, truly leading with value with your sphere, with your group of people. And when you first off identify who that sphere is, it's usually bigger than you actually realize when you think back to your network. And then having a system in place to actually add value to these people while making them more aware of your business today in the real estate world. I know that can sound a little bit vague, but once you plug into the system, you start to realize through gifting programs, through just communication that's consistently done without you having to think about it. It's not done manually as much as it's done through a program. You start to see the benefits of that as people who already like you and trust you and know you then start realizing and associating you with their preferred realtor, right? And it doesn't happen overnight at all times, but it can happen much quicker with your sphere of influence than it's going to happen with complete strangers that are out there. Yes. And one of the ways that I know you also have leaned into leverage is by working with great partners. And so that's one of the reasons why we have Chris here today with Homestretch, is that you have utilized people like Homestretch and like Chris. And so we're going to just quickly touch on that too. The power of having the right people in your network, right? And in your business, and having amazing partners that you know you can trust, that you can lean on. Can you share real quick how you guys met and it's an example of how you've utilized the Homestretch team?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a huge point in regards to your adding value, right? Because if I'm only a licensed realtor, the argument for those who are kind of the phone dialers, the cold callers, would be, I don't want to sell to my friends. Mm-hmm. And the example you used of me having a conversation with a friend of mine and then converting it into, hey, can I help you buy a house? That actually has never happened. So to ease your mind, for anybody watching this thinking that would be what you do, that's not at all how it works. And turning...
but that's how some people approach it, right?
Works,
they think they have to do it that way, or else they get a little fishy about their sphere of influence. Yeah,
exactly. Or I don't want to work with people I know really well. It is that's kind of an inhibiting mindset. But back to, even how I met Chris Cimino at Homestretch was basically through Tampa Bay Real Producers, one of the MVP socials. It was a while ago, actually, years ago. Which is part of, plugging in, not being a secret agent, but collaborating, sharing. But if I'm only a licensed realtor and I know 50 people at any given time, it doesn't take a genius to know any of one of those 50 are probably not looking to buy or sell right now, or even maybe know anybody offhand, but they have some kind of need at any given moment. Mm-hmm. So if I can only sell houses, I didn't, major in statistics or anything, but clearly if I am in relationship with a multitude of other vendors and professionals that do different things, especially for homeowners and to their home, if I am in touch with that person, catching up, how are you doing today? What's new? Well, I thought about this and, I need some work done to my house, but I don't have a ton of money, but I think if we could fix it up and I could get the right amount of money, that I would sell. Mm-hmm. And an agent on an island really would have nothing better than a Google search to help them out. But there's an example most recently with Lisa Lynn. I had almost an identical conversation with that. And I've known her for years. And to be honest, to this day, she has not done a transaction directly with me, but she has referred 3 other people. And she's owned her house since 2011. And it's nice, it's clean, but, could use some sprucing up. Mm-hmm. So in conversations with her over the phone, from what just was a fun way to catch up, I ended up connecting her with Chris at Homestretch because they offer a program that solves 2 problems. Where's my next transaction coming from, and how can she get the most money for her home without putting a ton of money in up front? So Chris went over there, and he always answers his phone. He is the man. I don't want to put too much pressure on you, boss, but your communication is stellar. But nonetheless, went over there, free estimate, walked around with her. She loved the entire experience, and who gets credit for that?
Sure.
Who gets a possible another referral, a 5-star review, keeps answering the phone when I call, loves the handwritten cards that I send, because Bowtie Bobby isn't just a realtor that can sell my house. He knows somebody that can fix my problem, my neighbor's problem, or anything, whether it's, I know a lady that does hair lice removal. Clearly I don't have that problem, but hey, if you got kids or you got that problem, I can help you. So the key is, going back to marketing, if you're trying to be the one-stop shop for everyone that you know, like, and trust, that's really got to be your message. But not only being able to deliver that, but cultivating relationships constantly and daily to be able to do that at a high level and have the right professionals respond when you need them. They win, you win, and the customer wins. I don't see a better way to generate sales.
Yeah, what I love about the approach is it really embraces one of the things we teach with Top Producers Nation online in our community is the importance of leading with value, right? And having that mindset, that consultant mindset. That's how top producers think from. That's the pattern we've seen ever since we started our platform years ago. And that's exactly what you just described is like, as a professional realtor who wants to truly add value to your clients, it really starts with almost having the mentality of like, you need to be the ultimate connector, right? It's like, no matter what the need might be, can you help fill that need so you become that person that's the go-to resource for somebody like Homestretch or any other need, whether it's lice or whatever it is that you could potentially bring a solution for. Because as you said, in the way that the real estate business works, so many agents really narrow their focus to just positioning themselves as the realtor. But, people aren't selling their home every other day or even every other year. So what value can you add while they're in that 3-5 year cycle that still keeps you top of mind and making sure that when that moment does come, you're a no-brainer choice, for them as to who they would trust to actually represent their biggest asset, exactly. Which is that property. And so, Chris, I wanted to bring you in here as well so you can just quickly identify for people who might not know much yet about Homestretch, about you. How did you get started with Homestretch? And just give the people a little bit of insight as to, Bobby has touched on it, but what are the services that you want people to know about Homestretch?
So certainly. So Homestretch, we're a real estate specific home preparation company. What does that mean? So we take the stress, we help remove the stress, complexity, and indecision out of getting a house market ready. What does that mean? So we offer 5 key items to help do that. So junk removal, decluttering a home, very important in real estate. Less is more, obviously, we always like to say. Painting, interior painting, exterior painting, cabinet painting, tub and tile resurfacing, all those sort of things that go along with a painting program. Carpet and flooring, landscape cleanups, and pre-photo cleaning. So all designed to be low risk, high return services, really to reduce days on market and increase the sales price of a home.
Gotcha.
We're real estate specific. I came to Homestretch. I've actually worked with Homestretch for roughly about 7 years almost, but they were a vendor of mine. I worked for a different real estate services company that was previously part of the Anywhere real estate empire before they were acquired by Compass. And I had managed a territory from Ohio all the way to the East Coast of the United States, and had the privilege and honor of having Homestretch be my number one vendor. And when they said they were going to expand and they started talking about being in the Tampa Bay market, I worked with the founders and said I'd love to be part of it in the Tampa Bay market. And they connect me with 2 wonderful people. If anybody's got to meet them, Mark and Carrie Snyder.
Shout out to Mark and Carrie. We love them for
yeah.
sure.
And I have had the honor of working with them for the last couple of years, and just fantastic people. But I think one thing that Bobby was saying earlier is, leveraging, right? Leverage. And as realtors, and as you're walk into a house and be able to see, hey, the same thing that Bobby said. It's a nice house, but maybe it's a little dated. Maybe it's a little too lived in. We can come in and offer those solutions. And I think the biggest thing that we want to get across as Homestretch is that we're not here to sell paint jobs. We're not here to sell flooring jobs, right? We're an extension of the realtor's team, the brokerage's team. We're there as a service and as subject matter experts and professionals that are here to help serve you as well. So we may do one deal with a person that needs some work done. Luckily we've had several that we have done a couple of jobs for, but primarily we work with the end user, the seller, one time.
Yeah.
We work with the realtors 10, 20, 50, 100 times.
They end up being strategic partners.
And that's the way we want to be perceived, is that we are professionals. We're here for your client's best interest, and we're here for your best interest as being, a real estate professional.
And do you find yourselves mostly working with like individual agents, independent agents that are needing you obviously for individual clients, or do you also partner a lot with brokers and teams and want to get to speak at a team meeting or something to educate them a little bit more?
Certainly. We do one-offs with realtors. They'll call us in, but primarily where we've had our, quote unquote, biggest bang for the buck is that we do get involved with teams and with brokerages. And when we have success with a specific project, that it breeds, right? So it grows. We've had a lot of success with some high producing teams throughout both the Tampa Bay Real Producers and the Sarasota Real Producers, and Real Producers nationally as well. So we're heavily involved across the nation with Real Producers, and just having those contacts within those top producing agents has been very, has been uber successful for us as a company as we continue to grow.
Yeah, I think when we initially hooked up with Homestretch, they were working in our Fort Wayne market with Real Producers. Mr. John Good, another friend of mine, so shout out to you, John. That was up in I think it was Fort Wayne, right?
Fort Wayne, yeah.
Is your initial market. You might have expanded up there as well. I'm not positive.
So Real Producers, Homestretch started in Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay. Grew to Columbus, Ohio. Derek and Nick, our founders, they were the original owners of it, and they saw a huge need in this marketplace of helping create this scenario of delivering this real estate specific, home, not home improvement, but home preparation.
Yeah.
And they were able to, they franchised it, and we're in 90 plus markets now across the United States. And it's honestly, from what I understand, I'm not on the franchise end of things, but has been very well received in the franchise marketplace as well. And we're, like I said, just tremendous success across the country.
And you mentioned there the distinguishing difference between, say, home improvement versus home preparation. If you can just quickly touch on like how and why you distinguish yourself from, say, a GC or somebody who is going to, live in that lane. What is the difference between an agent working, say, with a GC versus working with you guys?
So we are not GCs. We don't proclaim to be GCs. The way our program works and the way our solutions work is that I'm sure every realtor out there, their broker at some point, or they've used the term time is of the essence, right? So very common phrase and terminology in the real estate industry. Our program is designed around that. So because we're very specific in what we do and what we recommend, our projects take 2 weeks, right? Or 1 week or 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Whereas when we get GCs involved and we get permits involved, so we don't do anything that requires a permit, just because permits take time.
Yep.
Right. And we're designed to be fast, efficient. We stack all of our jobs. Everything's project managed from in-house with our team. So when our clean out crew gets done, our paint crews, they're the same day that they're finishing up. When our paint crews finishing up, our floor crews, they're the day they're finishing up. And as soon as our painters are done, the landscapers and the floor and the cleaning crews there. So like I said,
very streamlined.
And again, that's what we're designed.
Internal, external, whatever the need is, just to make sure it's prep ready.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, most of the time when we see, listen, I'm sure there are houses out there that need a GC to do work. The majority of the houses that we do, again, we're designed to be low risk, high return.
Yeah.
I can typically say most of the times we're in a house that $100,000 kitchen renovation and $15,000 bathroom renovations are not ROI producing events.
Right.
They may help us sell a house, but unless it's a multi-million-dollar house, it's probably not the right situation where we can go in and spend a fraction of that and get the same results that we're trying to get,
right?
And at the same time, reducing days on market
Yep.
and increasing sales price.
That's, I would think, Bobby, as an agent, it comes very valuable. The idea is let's get to this closing table and let's get there as soon as possible, right? So that everybody wins.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more with what Chris said, because I know a lot of GCs as well, but they're not as understanding of how the appreciation and the margins work with what you should do to a house to get the client the most profit they can in the least amount of time. And, Chris and Homestretch, they do that. Like he said, being realtor centric makes it so much that they're more focused on you and your client as opposed to a GC. Most of them feel like, they're doing you a favor, and things take longer, they cost more, and it's not.
If they even finish the job when they say they're going to finish the job.
And there's so many.
Now, we're not trying to crap on GCs here. Just want to be clear. We have some amazing GCs that we work with as well.
Absolutely.
But it's just a different lane. Yeah.
Correct. And that's just one example of, collaborating with other professionals like Chris and Homestretch that add value other than the traditional way. Because honestly, the birth of what I would call improving a home before you sell it started on accident for me with a client in 2015. Long story short, I mean, they were serial smokers. They smoked in the house. I mean, the house couldn't have been in worse condition to sell. And they were living on Social Security. And so I just called my friends manually, like some handyman, a landscaper, an AC guy. In the end, we got them probably about almost $100,000 more for their house, and they didn't have to lift a finger or write a check.
Nice.
But I also learned a lesson that I did a lot of the coordinating, a lot of time on the phone and follow-ups, and it's it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Right? And I still don't charge extra for going the extra mile. So I'm like, there has to be a better way. And for example, Chris at Homestretch, he carries that load. He does the coordinating. In fact, he's so great at follow-up. He and I stay in touch so that I can create a nice organic cadence for follow-up with the customer if they haven't decided yet, or if the project is midway. So it's more or less organic, consistent communication on top of the fact that, he's focused on, doing the right things for the same results that I called him for.
No, it makes all the sense in the world. And I think hopefully agents can see the difference there, and just based on what their needs are. And I think for a lot of agents' motivations, which probably is to getting to the closing table, right, as quickly as possible, having that ability to lean on, and we're talking a lot about leverage here, leverage a resource like Homestretch makes a lot of sense. So that's why they're partners, and they're there for you guys. So take advantage of them. You can find all their contact, by the way. I'm sure they'll mention it later, but it's all on our website, as I said. Bobby, let's touch a little bit more on this journey that you're going down here for moving forward, and the vision for what you want to build. What would an agent, you think, expect to experience as you start building this Freedom Builders brand? What do you want that to be about? What type of culture are you looking to build and describe? What if an agent is out there and they love what you're about and have seen your business maybe even from afar over the years, and are curious as to what it will look like to actually maybe work closer with you with this Freedom Builders launch? Give somebody some insight as to what they could expect.
Yeah, so Freedom Builders Realty is the name of it. And freedom could be, said a lot of ways, but I guess I can also frame it as, if you're looking for food, you can either hunt or you can farm, or you can do both. And our model is more or less farming, but with leverage. And I guess another good term to utilize to better understand it would be agent franchising. So when you are part of a franchise, you're receiving leverage to operate an existing model to make it easy for you, but also be successful, to make it all about you. And typically when you join a brokerage, it's all about the brokerage name, and you just take those leads and you process them, but everything is about the brokerage and that name. But I just believe that the energy of the brokerage and the money and the focus for delivering value, just like the agent to the customer, should be directly to the agent. So whether that's promoting and marketing for the agent, his name, her website, his sphere of influence, her network, instead of needing to buy from the gorilla, the Zillow or Realtor.com or any of these entities that kind of have our leads. There's a thing called the Law of 50, which I don't want to get into on this podcast, but it truly says that every human being has, no matter what status they think they are, has about 50 people that really know, like, and trust them above anybody else. So whether it be who you would invite to your wedding or who would come to your funeral, we all have them. And it's a matter of how you are viewed by them, the cadence, what they see. There's a bit of a science to it, and that's the farming. But then we could teach that all day long. But I think the thing that separates Freedom Builders from any other brokerage or model that I've ever heard of is the internal staffing leverage we'll be adding to do those things and apply those things for the agent. Mm-hmm. So the agent can have a lifestyle that is conducive to them and their goals, but constantly be generating income and profit without the overhead of an assistant, transaction coordinator, or any of the other things that independents have to pay for. So it creates better results. It reduces the risks of negative cash flow, and it gives you back your lifestyle in a way that isn't kind of chasing after the business, but drawing it to you.
Yeah, and as we talked about this business model, one of the things that I thought was interesting was, I'm assuming you will embrace working with newer agents who maybe are looking for a home that they feel like can help them tap into their sphere, their network, and build a business organically, which a lot of your programs and leverage is about organic growth, right?
Right.
And that's not to say that there won't be any sort of paid, vehicles that you guys will utilize to help your team grow. I'm sure there will be components of that'll be in there as well. But a lot of the secret sauce that you're describing is leaning into this organic growth strategy and systems and how you're going to support agents doing that. But a lot of what you're talking about is going to be focused on more experienced agents, people who have had some success. They've been in the business for 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 plus years. And they've in some ways maybe even have or are part of a brokerage where they have 100% commission right now. But it's all on them, right? They are responsible for literally everything that is their business. And that works great for some people, for many people. And there's obviously absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if an experienced veteran agent, can see value in partnering up with a true team who's really about wanting to support them, of course, there will be splits involved in all those detailed conversations as to how that will look. But the whole goal is that whatever that split is, your goal ultimately is to provide so much more value than whatever they feel like they're paying for that. And not even just from a business sense. I know we've talked off camera about things that you're planning and mapping out on a personal side of things to just help them enhance their lifestyle, from maybe if faith is important to them, which I know is very important to you, things and programs that you want to institute that are going to drive a culture of being bold in your faith and sharing that openly and educating and helping to create more ambassadors for Christ, if that's the word that I would use. We've talked even about the idea of helping people achieve financial freedom, right? However they would define that for themselves. But that's part of the model, is clarifying what does financial freedom actually look like for you as an agent. That's probably going to be different for each person that's involved in the organization, but then having a clean plan as to how that's attainable within the Freedom Builders business model. And there are some great brokerages and teams, I think, who dabble with some of that and dive into it. But I do agree with what you said earlier, that I've seen challenges as well over the years with people feeling like even if they're top producing agents, they may or may not be getting that level of support from their broker. And they start questioning whether or not the split they have, what is the broker really providing for me to earn that split? Right. And so I think that there's a lot of nuances there that I know if we had more time, we can talk about for a while, but hopefully that wets the whistle a little bit for some people to dig in a little bit deeper. What's your motivation behind this, Bobby? Who are you trying to serve the most, and what's the most exciting thing about this new experience that you're most looking forward to?
Well, I just want to serve God. I mean, it really comes down to a couple different Bible verses. 1 Peter 4, verse 10, use our God-given talents in various forms to help others. Leveraging the skills and resources of Chris at Homestretch. A good lender, good title company, just doing your best to serve others. But as far as the culture part, to me, the brokerage would be more of a ministry than it would be a Christian-based culture. It's also builds in my opinion, a better foundation for your life. I mean, look at Matthew 7:24. You don't want to build your house or your castle on a bed of sand. You want to build it on a rock. And whether that's understanding what you can do with the money that you're making, or generational wealth for teaching your children certain things. Where rust and moth can't destroy, the treasures that we leave behind, like the real stuff about life, can all be supported in the culture that we're looking forward to creating and sharing at Freedom Builders.
And if somebody wants to just get more information on what you're talking about, pick your brain a little bit about what that looks like and what involvement they could have. I know there's still things that you're working on to get the official launch out, but I feel like from our conversations, you're getting closer and closer to that. What's the best way for someone to get more information from you?
Well, they can always call me, 727-365-8335, Bobby at freedombuildersrealty.com. But honestly, I finished my broker course, passed the test, got everything finalized with the DBPR and approved. Just need to take the state test to become a broker. And then we'll officially be launching the websites, able to sit down and do one-to-ones and explain more of what we offer as far as how the agent franchise model works. And really almost like the guarantee that says, if you could, double your transactions and work half as much, would you be interested in seeing how that works? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how
it's a good tagline. Begins. I like that tagline. Get some people to raise their hand, I think.
That's the goal.
Sign me up.
Yeah, and if you're not licensed, get licensed.
Let's chat about that. Chris, how about you? What if somebody wants to talk more about Homestretch? What's the best way to contact you?
Certainly. So they can call me directly, Chris Cimino, 813-750-0503. As Bobby said, we answer our phone. I think that it's a common thread against with successful realtors that I hear across the platform here is answer your phone. But we do. But also they can reach out. They can go to our website, www.home-stretch.com. Also, we are the Suncoast Tampa Bay market, so you can find us there as well.
Very cool. Yeah. I got a couple things. We're just going to wrap up with some quick hits, some personal things for people to get to know both of you a little bit more, and then we'll put a bow on the episode here. But you might have shared this one before, Bobby. Actually, I'm going to start with Chris first. So do you have a favorite book or author or seminar that you've ever gone to that you feel like has made an impact on you personally or professionally?
No.
That's the honest answer, huh? Not a reader?
I used to read a ton. Have not, honestly, really just trying to stay on top of the real estate market. I keep up with what's going on here locally a lot. I follow, I listen to the founders of our companies do, Derek and Nick. They do a lot of podcasts as well.
Do you have a favorite podcast other than ours, of course?
No. Like I said, just, hasn't been super important. I do try to, stay involved here locally, of course, but nothing.
Did you grow up in Tampa?
I did.
Okay. So you are local, huh?
Born and raised, family immigrated here from Italy and Ireland, actually.
It's in the name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So very large family here in the Tampa Bay market. Went to high school here locally to Jesuit. My father went to Jesuit high school. And both my sons went to Jesuit high school, so they're third generation as well. So
you're all in on helping the community and seeing, and I'm sure that you've seen this community grow a lot over the years, for sure. Yeah. I think I just saw yesterday that they passed a 4-3 vote on the new Rays Stadium. Did you guys see that?
It did not. No
yes. Way. Yeah. So I think there's still a county vote that has to take place.
I think that's happening today, supposedly.
I heard, correct. Yeah, I heard that, and apparently they believe that should be the one that they felt more confident in.
Right.
It was the Tampa City one that there was a little bit up in the air,
4-3,
but it was 4-3. So Tampa passed it, and I guess tomorrow or today we'll know whether the county passes it, because they have a $260 million investment. I think I saw somewhere for the county piece of it. So it's a project for sure, but the renderings do look beautiful, and I think from a community standpoint, I can see the value over time. I know a lot of people argue that money could go better used for helping homeless and other things, and I can understand that. But there's also something cool about the pride that comes with some sort of new, not only a stadium, but just everything around that, right? Like that whole community build out just seems like a pretty cool project. So that's my opinion on it anyway, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Bobby, how about you? Favorite book that comes to mind that you can recommend?
Oh my gosh, so many.
What about your book?
I know. I should just say Good Talk, Great Sales by Robert Paolini, but and actually is a culmination of like a lot of my favorite books. I stole every bit of that information. Just FYI, didn't think of it
Repackage
myself.
is a better way to put it.
Thank you.
Yes.
The Go Giver. Have you read that one?
Yeah, it's a great book.
That's the one that came to mind. Bob Berg and John David Mann, I think, are the authors. If any of you have read it or do read it and you're in tears at some point before the end, Freedom Builders Realty is for you for sure. It's a great book that gives you the mindset of adding value and says a lot about what we're doing.
Yeah, no doubt. I couldn't agree more. That's a great book to check out. And it is all about, like, in any business sense, leading with value first. That's really the core promise of that book. Do you have a favorite place to travel?
The living room couch with my wife. Actually, we don't do much traveling, believe it or not. In fact, she was joking with me because American Express just gave us some kind of benefit and points for airfare and travel, but we don't even use it. So she's like, "Well, that's good. They're gonna make some money off you." I did love Lake Como in Italy when I went for my brother's wedding.
Nice.
So if there's a time in my life where I could do that more often, that's probably where I'd go.
Yeah, maybe there'll be some Freedom Builders retreats out there one of these days. Who knows? I have heard that's gorgeous. I've never been myself. But how about you, Chris? That Italy thing ring home with your roots?
Definitely Italy's fantastic. But, if I were going to go, I've been looking at a trip to go back out to the Lake Tahoe area of the United States. To me, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Lake Tahoe, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
yeah, I've never been there either, believe it or not. So
a lot of fires out there right
things.
now. You want to
avoid it for now.
Yeah.
Wait till they die down and then make my trip. Well, we're gonna put a bow on the episode with what I call the legacy question, and I'm interested in your answer to this, Bobby, because you've probably answered it, but it was a couple years ago now. So I'm curious if anything has evolved or changed in your opinion here. But when you think of that day, Chris, that you might be sitting on that rocking chair and you're thinking back to what you'd want to be most remembered for, right? What type of legacy you'd want to leave, whether that's personally or professionally. What is a thought or two that comes to mind for you that you feel like would be most important?
I think it goes back to the way, even the way that our company operates, that, I'd want people to know that we were in it to help them, to, as Bobby said earlier, to serve them. Ultimately that's our goal, right? We want to do the best thing that we can for, the seller, right? So I think I would want people to understand that, while we are in this business to make money and that we are here as a business, that we're really trying to do what's right for our customers. And I think most of the realtors we've had a chance to work with feel that way about us, and honestly, that's why when realtors use us, they use us again. So, and I'm talking in a business sense, but from a personal sense as well, I would want people to know that in the end, I'm here to help others.
Yeah. I think that's how most of the businesses who actually last and stick around for multiple generations, that's the premise of their proposition, right? Is how do I make sure that my clients know that we really genuinely care about the outcome and the result, and it's not just about the bottom line all the time and making money. Hopefully, when you're focused on the customer outcome, the bottom line takes care of itself.
It does.
And grows from there. And Bobby, we'll let you put a bow on it. I like your sneakers, by the way. I didn't throw that out there. They're nice. I like the touch, the white, the gold.
Steve Madden.
Are they Maddens?
Shout out, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a whole other podcast I think we can chat about. What about you, man? What's that driving force that would be most important to you when you think about your legacy?
Well, I think that the fact that legacy is my most important factor or drive, says a lot, and it's huge. Bowtie Bobby is actually a junior, so I'm the namesake of my late father, who died on my 26th birthday, and my mother died 5 days later. And when that happens, you tend to get a different view of life, and I just realized that I have to do more to honor them, and I feel like, isn't that what we all should be doing? And ultimately, I want the glory to go to God, that in my deathbed, there will be somebody that says in prayer, thank God Bobby came this way, because my life, my kids' lives are better because of it. And if one person can do that, then I'm good to go.
My man, making all of us cry over here, Bobby. I appreciate the raw emotion for sure. Well, what's cool about this podcast is that we get to dive into business strategy, we get to dive into best practices, but I think we also get to dive into like what truly motivates people on a personal level, and giving people, our audience, an insight into the things that I think we really care about, right? So that's the genesis behind that legacy question too, is to let us get an insight as to like why we're even doing what we're doing, right? Sometimes we have to take a step back and really question that and make sure that our actions are aligned with that vision of where we want things to go for the future. But we appreciate Homestretch for your help in sponsoring this episode, and for obviously being an amazing partner with the overall platform. It's good to have you in studio today, Chris. Bobby, I love you like a brother, and it's great to have you back here in the studio. I wish you all the best here with Freedom Builders. You know that we're invested in trying to make this thing work for you, and I can't wait to see it grow and see it take on all new success for the years to come. So it's going to be a fun process and a fun journey. But we're going to end the episode with a challenge to the audience, the way we always do, which is to take action on at least one thing that you heard today that can help propel you forward personally or professionally. We talked a lot today about the importance of leverage and the importance of your relationships and the importance of utilizing these things so that you can build a better business, right? Maybe there's something today that resonated with you that is missing in your business. You're not utilizing leverage in some ways. You feel a little burnt out. You feel a little stressed, even if you might be successful as an agent. And so maybe if that does resonate, a conversation with Bobby could be helpful as to like what some of those systems look like, what some of that support and what some of that eventual journey of Freedom Builders is going to look like potentially for you. Maybe you just need to find a great partner like Homestretch to be able to take some of the weight off of the preparation you're doing on all these clients' homes, right? Homestretch is there to help serve you. And so it could be a contact with someone like Chris to be able to move that forward. Maybe you got to pick up one of those books that we threw out there that Bobby recommended with the Go Giver. That could simply be the action step that you take. But do something so you lock in the value of listening to the episode here today. Of course, you might want to subscribe to our channel. Click the button below. You can subscribe to Top Producers Nation. That way you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode, which is weekly throughout our YouTube and Apple, Spotify, 15 different podcast platforms. Wherever you consume your podcast, you'll probably find us to check that out. So we do have an online community called Top Producers Nation to help you grow your business, help support you in marketing, help do a lot of the things that we talked about today from a leverage standpoint. So feel free to check that out as well. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. We'll check you out later. Peace.